Welcome back, everyone, to another incredible episode of Chat with Dan here. For today, what can I say? We have on the show the incredible, the amazing, the badass, the superstar, the legendary, the incredible Tina. Tina, how are you today?
Thank you for that wonderful intro. Yes, I'm doing absolutely fine. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What better way to have an incredible, super day that you be chatting with someone as legendary and badass? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, back at yourself
There you go.
on
Thank
that.
you. All right. Now, before we start, I do want to thank those who are either listening to this or watching to this. Thanks so much. If you're new to the channel, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Tina's social media. Let's follow her. Let's make her viral. Hashtag Team Tina. She's incredible, and we're gonna find out why she's amazing. Now, with that being said, let's move forward here. So, let's start with the first question here on this incredible interview, which is what drew you into acting in the first place? Was there a specific moment or experience in life that made you realize, you know what, this is gonna be my passion now?
Well, you know what? I've always wanted to do this. It's been the only thing that I ever wanted. I'm told by my parents, or was when I was young. I was about 3 years old, and I basically went up to them and said, I want to go to dance classes. I want to be an actress, and I want to dance. Um, and they were like, okay. 3 year old saying this. So obviously they ignored me just for a year. But then I kept going on about it. And they then took me to dance. And then through that, obviously I found my way onto the stage. And I think a lot of it, I remember my dad bought me lots of videos on the musicals. So I used to watch a lot of Gene Kelly, Fred Astaire, those types of musicals. Singing in the Rain was a favorite. And I just used to love what I was seeing. And I think it just made me feel really good. And I just knew. So,
There you
yeah.
go. I love it. That is incredible. And focusing a little bit more now into your acting career, tell me, how do you approach getting into the mindset of character? Do you have, I don't know, a specific technique, or what is your thing here?
Yeah. So to get into character, I think what I like to do first of all is get the script, and I like to go through the script and fully sort of dissect it, if you like. I like to see what my character is saying, how they behave, their actions, what they don't say, and then also what other characters say about them, because that can be very telling as well. So I like to go through and do all of that. The research on them, sort of the written research. I use a lot of Stanislavski
Hmm.
style techniques, like the who, what, where, why, how, and all of that, just to go through for that bit on the page. And then once I've got that, and I know kind of who they are roughly externally, if you like, I'll then start to internalize it. So then that's when you start rehearsals, or sometimes you don't get rehearsals if you if you're filming, do you?
Yeah.
Um, you get more rehearsals if you're doing a play. But I like to, I'd rehearse by myself, say at home, and really find the character there and get into the psychology of the character and try to understand why they're making certain decisions, what's their main objective
Hmm.
overall, what makes them tick, and I just like to really get fully into them and embody them. And some of that you will only find, I think, when you're with the other actors as well. When you start getting the script, getting the text on its feet, and you start really bouncing the lines backwards and forwards, and then you start to feel it. I
Hmm.
think you start to then feel the emotion. So yeah, that's how I approach it.
Mm. It's a whole other process than just learning your lines, as some people might think, right?
Oh God, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's the bit, that bit, you get that bit out of the way, and
Yeah.
as soon as yeah, that's that can be the tedious part of it, I suppose. Especially if you've got loads of lines. So as soon as you've got the lines down though, and you know exactly what that is, then you can just forget about that. You don't have to
Hmm.
worry about the lines then, because the lines should then come naturally.
Hmm.
Especially
Hmm.
if the scene is really well written,
Yeah, of
and
course.
whatever the other character is saying back to you, it's your response is easy. In fact, you should know. what your character would say back
Mm-hmm.
to them, because you've studied your character, you're inside their head, you're now here. So I don't know, you like I keep saying, you feel it. You would then feel the response back
Mm.
more. But once the lines are learned, that's when you can really start to enjoy the role, I think.
Okay. I like
Yeah.
it. Now,
Mm.
is there like a particular genre or type of character that you haven't portrayed yet, but at some point you would love to explore it in the near future?
Yeah. Well, there's lots of different characters I'd like to do, but I haven't done that much comedy, and I'd really like something. I mean, I really enjoy comedy. I like watching comedy as well, and the little that I have done of it, you always have sort of a great time on
Mm.
set. It's a bit sort of lighter than than a full on drama, but um, so that would be really nice to play something like that, just for fun, just because I love it.
Yeah.
But I'd really love to play a character where, you know, I really enjoy sci-fi, but I like either dystopian worlds or sci-fi drama, sci-fi crime, that sort of
Okay.
thing. Yeah, so something which is like that, but really high stakes, where the character
Mm.
is they're either on the run from something or they have to discover something. It's that constant, you're discovering either about the world that you're in or about, yourself,
Mm-hmm.
as you go through. So something like a cat and mouse type thing.
Okay. Okay. So we're talking a little bit about like the whole cyberpunk genre, right? Something like that. Dystopian
Yeah,
future, kind of like that.
yeah, kind of like an alternate future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So those type of things, I do find myself watching quite a bit of that sort of stuff, which
Okay.
is, yeah, I'm trying to think of example things. I don't know, like going back, like Minority Report,
Mm-hmm.
that thing that was, I enjoyed that. Or you could even say, I tell you, the Hunger Games, actually,
Okay.
the character that oh, what's her name? She plays Elizabeth Banks. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
The character that she plays, I'd quite like to have a character like that as well. That's slightly off from what I just said I'd want to play, but there's just too many roles that I'd want to try. But yeah, so things like that, or a bit grittier. Do you remember Children of Men?
Mm-hmm.
That thing.
Oh yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
so that kind of vibe. But yeah,
Yeah. That was a really good movie, by the way.
yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good one. I mean, I saw it once.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the first time I saw it, didn't pay too much attention to it, but then the second time I watched it, I was like, this is
Yeah.
actually really good. You know?
It's one of those, isn't it? You watch it the first time and then you're thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and you think about it for a few weeks and go, no, I've got to come back, and I've got to watch the other bits as well. And I just think the story's it's very interesting.
Yeah,
The
it's
concept.
powerful. Yeah, the story has like a deep message to it that,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really great film. I did. I think the problem was when I saw it the first time I saw it on TV and I was doing some other stuff and I was just, sometimes it happens, right? That you will turn on the
Yeah,
TV
yeah,
just to just for the noise of it while you were, I don't know, focusing on other stuff. And then the second time I did watch it, I was just like scrolling down on Netflix and then I saw Children of Men. I was like, what is that film? And then when I started seeing it, I was like, wait a minute, this seems familiar. And I was like, oh, okay, so that was the time. And then, okay, so I watched that previously. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it fully now. And then when I watched
yeah,
it fully, I was like, okay, this is actually really good. Yeah, I like it.
yeah, yeah. It is.
It was
It's great.
incredible. And tell me, have you ever had like a role that made a significant impact on you personally? And if it did that affected you?
um, I think in terms of that, I played. Okay, so going back years, it was like my first sort of main role in a feature
Hmm.
film, and the film was a small independent movie, and but it was very challenging for me because it was my first big role like that, and it was also very emotionally challenging as well. So there were scenes like we were all locked in a room. It was that type of environment, and things kept happening like psychologically to the different characters in there. And then I had a scene where I was, sort of chained to a table being interviewed, and but about sort of, when we'd all kind of got to a point where we'd all reached a limit and we were all sort of pushed to a limit. And I think this particular role, what it made me realize actually as an actress, was just how much you have to kind of sort of lose yourself in a role, how much you have to dedicate yourself to that part and to that, to make it real and believable and to really feel it. So obviously when you're drama school or when you're in training, you do those exercises, but this was a whole month or so of filming something very intense, and I feel like I kind of went really deep into it. And it made me sort of, I remember, at drama school, they always say, oh, you can't have any inhibitions as an actor and blah, blah, blah. And I remember thinking, okay, but I didn't really know what that meant until I was in this situation where I was like, actually, I can't have any inhibitions. I've got to be vulnerable here. And I've got to really embrace this situation in order for this to come off as believable. And I think just being in that situation and dropping myself into it, it did for a couple of weeks after. It was like, it does have an effect on you, so yeah, lots of meditation after that
I bet.
Shake off that, to shake off that character. But yeah, that was a good lesson actually for me too, in understanding just how challenging acting can be.
I mean, it happens sometimes, it's, I think it's inevitable, right? That when you are presenting a character, perhaps something about that character had clicked on you more as other characters you have done in the past. So I can understand like that kind of separation after it might be a little bit, I wouldn't say difficult, but perhaps like, you know what? Yeah, I will say with difficult. So yeah.
Yeah. It can. But yeah, it's just how you deal with it afterwards. Obviously every character is going to have an impact on you. I think every character that you play, because you discover something about a person from a different walk of life to you, and you have to understand them in order to embody that person. So you learn a lot about them, and you also learn about yourself in this sort of two-way process with this imaginary character that you're bringing to life. So yeah, I think every character you play does have some kind of impact on you.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that interesting anyway.
And how you handle the pressure and expectations that comes when you're about to play a character?
I suppose, to be honest, I try not to think about, or I try not to dwell on that too much. I try not to, because I think that can hinder your discovery of the character and your performance. If you're too busy thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to play this right? Am I going to say this right? Am I going to please the director? You can get so overwhelmed that, and preoccupied with that you actually forget what you're there to do, and then your performance won't be real or authentic, because you're too busy being out here, rather than in here. But I suppose what I try to do to get out of that is I do like to make sure I'm prepared for it, make sure I understand exactly what the process is going to be, and maybe how the director likes to work, so I know what the setup's going to be when I get there, to prepare myself as mentally before I get sort of on set or wherever. And then, on the day, I make sure I do a little bit of a morning meditation or some deep breathing, and just kind of settle on my, all my nervous energy right down, and just go and try and do my job, I suppose. Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you enjoy the most about this whole process of bringing a character to life?
Yeah. Um, I mean, that's just it, isn't it? It's the process of it.
Yeah.
It's discovering that character. It's discovering them and who they are and what makes them tick. Um, and you don't find all that out in one go, you know, because when you first initially read the script, it's like that's your, you know, that's like your first sort of dry read. You're like, okay, you try to take it all in, and then when you start getting into the nitty gritty of the story and the character and the other characters, and you're teasing out all these little bits of information about who you are, as in your character, who they are, that's when it all starts fitting together,
Hmm.
and slotting together, and it's really enjoyable to you're almost like out having an out of body experience, so you're sort of watching the character grow, but you're growing yourself in discovering all this information about them. So yeah, that's what I enjoy.
There you go. All right. And how you continue to challenge yourself and at the same time grow as an actor.
Well, I suppose continually challenging myself. It's difficult because obviously, and we all know this as actors, we're not always working, and we have lots of gaps over the year.
Yeah.
So it's the yeah, as with, I think, you know, most freelancers really. So it's finding ways in those gaps to, you know, either maybe take a couple of workshops or do a few classes, or if you can't do that or you can't afford that, then, you know, just get a text or a monologue and challenge yourself to I don't know, learn that monologue in you've got an hour, go and learn that monologue,
Hmm.
just so you can keep your, you know, your memory like sharp, because it has to be. If you know, you might have a script that you've got to learn in a few days because, you know, you're last minute getting cast, and you know you need to get it down. So that's why you need to keep your memory well practiced,
Hmm.
in that sense. So I would say if you can't afford to do works, or if I can't, you know, or even fit it in, if I don't have the time to do the workshops or the classes or the courses, then I try to do that other stuff at home, and also just watching films as well. I think if you watch films that you maybe have got actors or actresses in that you admire, or inspire you, you know, just watching them, or and saying, oh, okay, what about their performance here did I
Hmm.
like? What makes their performance work for me? How can I use this? You know, so there's lots, I suppose, that lots you do maybe without realizing that you are keeping yourself, um, challenged,
Hmm.
you know, and lots of ways you can grow without attending classes as an actor.
Okay.
People watching, I people watch as well. I don't know if you do that, but I find it really interesting. I find I can sometimes use some of that in yeah.
There you go. Okay. Now let's say, you know what, that one day I call you and I tell you that I want to become an actor. Now here's the thing. I have zero experience. So based on what you know, what do you think that it would be a good place for me to start?
Good place for you to start as an actor with no experience. I would say, first of all, ask yourself why you want to move into acting. Yeah. If it's just because you heard that you might make loads of money and you want to be famous, then I would say, okay, maybe reconsider what it is you actually want
Yeah,
to
of
do.
course.
Yeah, but if you're sort of dead set on you want to go into it, you've had no experience, it doesn't matter. That no experience thing doesn't matter. What matters is that you're willing to put the work in.
Mm,
Um, so I would say, if you want to, you know, if you want to go into theatre, for example, probably take some classes in voice work, because you'll need to be able to project
mm,
when you get into those classes. I would say take a few classes or workshops anyway, and there's loads of stuff online that you can do, that you can start to, you know, look at and practice with them on YouTube or whatever at home. So I would say, look at doing that. If you want to get more into film, then that's, again, classes are great, but you've got to start somewhere. And I do think, you know, you get a lot of experience, and you get the best type of experience and learning and training on a film set. So put yourself out there, get onto film sets. If you want to just know how the whole thing works and is put together, there's no harm in just joining a few extras agencies just to be on set and to get familiar with the language that's used,
Mhm.
you know, the terminology and all of that. So you're not, so when you do actually get cast in a role, it's not completely alien to you, and that's not going to throw you.
Okay.
So you could do that, but then obviously that's not going to help you move forward. Not over here, actually, in the UK, as an actor per se. I think you still need a few classes, or try and get into short films. See what you can get, like a sort of sign up to a few websites where you can put your profile, such as Backstage or Mandy or those sort of things, and get a basic profile on there, get some headshots done, and just get it up there, and then you can start applying for roles. But yeah, I think that's my but I know that it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough and difficult. Doesn't matter if you're an experienced actor or you've never had any experience. The whole industry is quite hard to break and to crack, and there's a lot of ups and downs. So just be prepared for that. Yeah, and to get told no a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Sorry, that's
basically,
probably
no,
more than one bit of advice there. Sorry.
so basically, it's make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, taking acting classes,
Mhm.
and make
Yeah.
sure you are prepared to handle rejection.
Yes. Yeah. And with the rejection, it's easier said than done, but try not to take it personally.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because there are so many people that are going to be applying for that one job, and there's so many different reasons as to why you might not get that job. You know, it's as you've probably heard actors and that say before, but it's like a casting director has to put together this whole jigsaw puzzle of a cast and make sure that everyone is going to gel with each other and everything links together properly. So it might not be, it's never all about you. If you've done the best job that you can, and you know that, then it's not about you, it's about other stuff, you know, other reasons. So
There you go. All right, I'll take it into consideration all of that. That sounds like a plan. Now, what has been the most important lesson that you have learned throughout your whole acting career so far?
I think I might have just touched on it, actually. Yeah, I did just touch on it. Knowing that it's never always about you, why you haven't got a role. Like I said, if you've done the best you can, then that's the best that you can do. You know, there's nothing else for you to give. It's other reasons why you might not be suitable for that role, but it doesn't mean that you're not good. It just means for that particular part, you know, you're not quite right. And I would think what I've learned is I've learned patience with over the years. You know, because there's you want things to happen, you want everything to happen like right now, and if you don't get a job, you're like, oh no, why didn't I get that job? And I think you just gotta sit back, relax a bit about it, and I have patience to know that that job wasn't right for me, but something probably is coming up for me, and it will come up for you. You've just got to have that. You've got to have belief in yourself. Without that belief in yourself, you know, you might as well give up, because sometimes you're going to be the only person that will keep you motivated, or will pick yourself up, for whatever reason. So you have to have that self-belief.
I like it. That's yeah, I mean that's a life lesson over there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think it's kind of the biggest misconception that people have about actors?
I think, right, maybe one of the biggest misconceptions people have about acting is that it's easy,
Hmm.
and that anyone can do it. And I just, maybe, maybe the acting part is maybe that tiny little bit of, you get your script and you do your acting role. Maybe a lot of people could do that, but that's not the whole picture for the acting life, for the acting industry. There's all the gaps in between when you're not performing or you haven't got a job. There's all the knockbacks and setbacks that you get when you're getting rejected like twice, 3 times a week, and you have to be able to deal with that. There's when you actually got the job, yay, which is great, and you're on set and you're doing 12-14 hour days on set, with a few little breaks in between, but maybe it's the middle of winter,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it's freezing cold and the heating's just broke, and all these things that you don't actually hear about, as much, or that maybe people that have no experience of the industry, I don't suppose they would think about those types of situations that you might be in. But it's not glamorous. It's rarely glamorous, for lots of different reasons. So yeah, I would say that people thinking it's an easy career choice when
Mm-hmm.
it's challenging mentally, emotionally, physically.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, just all of it. And you're like, oh.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I can understand that. And also it's interesting because, but I do think that perhaps that is kind of the media's fault, because they're showing, the red carpets, the award shows, the all, like all that glamour. And it's understandable that some people might think that for actors they have it easy. But once you start to see a little bit about what's behind of it, like all the time they had to do auditions, all the, like all the time they had to, they got canceled, or they got rejected. That's the word, things like that. All the
Yeah,
hours and hours they have to put to acting classes, to auditions, to all of it. When you take a look on that, and then you're like, okay, now that makes sense, and then you discover that part, as I was saying before, the glamour and everything is just, as you said, like a tiny, tiny, tiny piece of all
yeah,
of the things that you have that there's behind of it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. With them, it's how the media, it's how they want to portray the
Mm-hmm.
industry. Because people like seeing all the glamour as well, don't they? They like to look at people on the red carpet and look at the outfits and things like that. Um, but that's literally, it's like here. You've got, like, there's the tip of the iceberg is there, and then they don't see all the other
Mm-hmm.
massive sort of mass of chunk of ice of hard work underneath the water, and that is what that's what you've had to go through to get to here, to this little bit. So it's, yeah, it's a misconception, but I think maybe people are becoming more aware of it now, as
Mm-hmm.
we've got more people willing to talk about the behind the scenes stuff, and how hard the struggle is to actually get to
Mm-hmm.
a certain position. But also, I mean, you've got, there's different levels of acting as well. So if you think of an actor, we sometimes immediately go to Hollywood, like in our heads it conjures up that idea of all this glamour, and how glamorous Hollywood is, and how everyone's earning £1 million a day, and and all of that for their films, when
Yeah.
actually you've got all the other projects that get made, all the independent films and short films and movies, and I don't know, all your theatre jobs as well. So, and actors are working in all of that too, which is it's really tough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you could give one word to describe the feeling when you either step on stage or in front of the camera, which word would it be?
It's hard, isn't it?
Mm-mm.
Only one word.
Mm-hmm.
So I think stepping on stage, I would say I find that exhilarating. Stepping onto stage, you've got that nervous excitement going on, bubbling up when you're there, and then as soon as you step on, it's well, actually, what happens for me, that I get all those feelings in the wings. So I'm exhilarated, I'm nervous, I'm excited, all this business in the wings. And then as soon as I step on stage, I'm into the character. It's almost like it goes whoosh, and you then release all of that sort of anxiety almost. That nervous tension goes, and then you walk on into it. But yeah, exhilarating. And the same for a film set, but that's more, you don't get that immediate it's nerves in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
because on stage it's live. You can't keep doing your retakes, and the audience is right there. You can see their faces looking at you. So that I find that a different type of nervousness to when I step onto a film set. And I get a buzz when I'm on buzz. That's what I get from a film set when I'm there. Feel that, and then when it's time for my scene, I'm obviously prepared. I should be in character anyway at that point, and then we go into it. But yeah, exhilarating, buzzy.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Now, if your life were a sitcom, what would be the title of it? But also, who would play the fictional version of yourself?
Who would play me? So I think my life as a sitcom, it would be something like, so yeah, I tried to think about this. It would be something like You Missed the Shortcut, or The Shortcut Was That Way. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think that would pretty much sum it up. I don't know who would play me. Gosh, who do you think would play me? I don't know.
I have one.
Go on.
What about Cate Blanchett?
Who, sorry?
Cate Blanchett.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Okay, she could play me. Thank you. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, she'll play me, and it's called You Missed the Shortcut.
Mm-hmm. There you go. I like
Yeah.
it. You know what?
Okay.
That would be an interesting show already. Oh,
I
I'll see
think
that
so.
happening.
Yeah, okay. I'll get right in.
Sounds like a plan.
We'll bounce it back and forward. Let's see what we can do.
All right. Now, let's say that they're gonna make they're gonna make this film, which goes that all of the characters you have played at the moment, they're all gonna gather to celebrate your birthday. But here's the
Right.
thing, that film needs a name. So how should we call it?
Right. Celebrate my birthday. Okay. So we would either have something like, thinking of all the characters I've played, leave your weapons at the door. I'll explain in a minute. Or it would have to be something like keep calm and eat cake. Yeah, because thinking of the types of roles that I've played, they're all, they're not that they're violent. Some of them are violent, but they've all more or less got a weapon, a gun or an axe, or they're kind of, they're ready for a bit of a fight or for a challenge. I've played a couple of detectives or played a soldier and those sort of things. So they would all be up for it. It wouldn't be a very fun birthday party, put it that way. It would, yeah, it'd be tense. It'd be intense.
I'll take it. That sounds interesting. So kind of a mix, like a dark comedy.
Yeah, I think so. I love dark comedy. Do you?
Okay.
That. Yeah.
And tell me, what can we expect from you in the future?
Well, hopefully more uh more visibility, should I
Okay.
say, on screen. I've got there's a couple of movies actually that will be released that I'm in next year. And it's just by chance they're both going to be out at the same time, even though the time it took to film are sort of over different periods. One was 2 years ago and one was last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, they'll both be coming out next year. So in fact, I had a cast and crew screening on last Friday for one of them. So we got an update on that, and it was great. They've got a LA sales agent now, and I think they're really pushing that way, and it's got into several festivals. So I think, hopefully through that it will, lead to more work for, well, not just me but everybody in it, because it's a really good film. So hopefully, I really want to do more film work. I do motion capture as well, so having a bit more motion capture too, that would be great.
That's awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. And my last question.
Hmm.
If let's say we're gonna make a film out of
Okay.
the episode we just did right now.
Oh, right.
But you know what is gonna happen? We need a title. So how should we call it?
Oh God. This is tricky. Something like keep climbing.
Keep
Yeah.
climbing?
Keep climbing. Like keep
Okay.
going. Something like that. Or what would it be? What would it be? It would be stop using your hands, Tina. No, it's not. That's not the title of it. It would be like fly or fall. Like it's just, I don't know. Keep going. Keep pushing. It's something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Believe in yourself. Yeah. I'll come up with something a bit better. I'm sure I can put that more concisely. With a bit more thought.
What about if we use the title you said before, which was keep calm and eat cake?
Keep calm and eat cake. Yeah, I love it. I love that.
You know, it's interesting. It's catchy. You know.
Yeah, no, I like that. And who doesn't love cake?
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, we have a title already because that's gonna be the title for this episode. So.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, we'll use that then. Yes, yeah, it is catchy.
There
And
you
it's
go.
very British. It's very British, isn't it?
I like it. I love it.
Keep calm and drink tea is normally the
I love it. And I mean, at the end, what can I say? It's incredible what you do. It's amazing the fact that you keep doing it, that you keep pursuing it. Especially on this kind of difficult, weird times that we are having right now. The fact that you are focusing on what you love, that you're achieving it, making it happen. I mean, I think that's proof enough to show people that at the end you can make it happen. That at the end everything's possible. That there is a challenge to it, but I think that is kind of that's life. That is, in everything you want to do, there's gonna be a challenge. Yes or yes, it's inevitable. So yeah, it's incredible what you do, and I'm super sure that our next conversation will be about the multiple thousands of projects you've been in, because it's inevitable. So
let's hope so. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also want to thank those who stayed the whole conversation. Thank you so much. As I said in the beginning, on the description below, you're gonna find all of Tina's social media. I mean, now we found out why she's a total badass. So now let's follow her and let's make her viral. # Team Tina. And again, Tina, thank you so much for making this happen. Keep killing it out there. Keep rocking. Keep shining. And I'll see you in the next one.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.